The place where we update you on what's happening in the world of sport and of course recapping what also happened over the weekend. And today I've brought you two visitors that will be able to dissect what is happening between Gor Mahia and the FC Leopards. There seems to be a widening of that gulf between the two teams. Those are the eternal rivals in Kenyan football. Gor Mahia yesterday whipping FC Leopards by 4-1. And shortly I'll be introducing those guests to you. They are here, they'll be able to tell us that. But then we have to start with the news making headlines where the national women's football team, Harambee Starlets, face off with Zambia in a return leg of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics qualifiers at Nkoloma Stadium, Lusaka, Zambia. Starlets were held to a 2-2 draw in Nairobi on Friday and will need a high-scoring draw or a win of any kind to progress to the qualifying round, the final qualifying round. The winner on aggregate will battle with either Cameroon or Cote d'Ivoire in the final round, whose victor will directly qualify for next year's global showpiece in Japan.
Back-to-back match. Yes, we are going to play away. We know the conditions are not easy playing away, but what I think and what I've seen with my players is just to develop them towards this particular game because the chance is there. 2-2, playing at home. The situation now is minimal to us, but the strongest teams across the world are defined by great comebacks. So I believe with the potential that I have and seeing Zambia, what they threw at us at home, they played an open game, they pushed everything, they play as much as we would like them to, we anticipated. So also we have a remedy for them playing away in Lusaka on Monday. If this is happen, the possibility is there in the game. You play 1-0, we play 2-2, we play 3-2, all 3-3, all the possibilities are there. If we're winning the game, then we have a chance.
Well, that is the coach of Harambee Starlets, that is David Ouma, and he's sounding very confident about the return leg this afternoon in Zambia. And in the studio I have two gentlemen who are really versed with Kenyan sports issues. At my extreme left, that is Rogers Eshtemi, our reporter here at the Standard, and of course Gilbert Selebwa, former FC Leopards coach, former team manager, also a broadcast commentator. He does sports commentaries. And guys, welcome to KTN. Eshtemi, I'll start with you about the Starlets. Do we have a chance? We drew 2-2 here on Friday. Today is the return leg.
Definitely, it is a 50-50 affair, but Starlets have their work cut out because going in Zambia, they need actually to pull some magics because playing away, it's not that way easy, and they'll need at least to score either high-scoring, the same way you said, or win for them to progress. And having watched the first leg at Kenya, it's going to be difficult because the Zambians are really fast on the front, and they are very clinical. Find most of those players for Zambian teams are playing abroad, and their key player definitely there's going to be Barbara Banda, and then there's Grace Chanda, who are very, very influential in the first leg, and also their goalkeeper isn't that way bad. So it's going to be very difficult for us unless something happens. I can't really tell what will happen in Zambia.
The fact that we conceded 2 goals at home here means that we have to score at least more than 2 to be able to stand a very good chance. But then that is an Olympic qualifier. And over the weekend also the Kenya men's rugby sevens team, that is the Shujaa, qualified for the 2020 Olympic Games after reclaiming the Africa Sevens title with a 31-0 win over Uganda in Johannesburg, South Africa. Shujaa coached by New Zealander Paul Finney became the second Kenyan team to book a slot at the Summer Games, following in the footsteps of their women counterparts, the Lionesses, who bagged the ticket to the quadrennial event next that is last month in North Africa.
Never look back, never surrender. Nelson Oyo, he has taken his man on, and that is a supreme athlete in flight, ladies and gentlemen. On the outside here, so they must take it up the guts. Oh, he's bust through the tackles, and Rakotob. 15s and then 7-aside your sides. Your size can sometimes count against you. It's all about striking that perfect balance. Of 2019. Oh yes, the pickup from Madagascar. Could they score another surprise try here against Kenya, who just cannot put this side away? Diving over the ball to secure it. a test of heart, and all the way goes Alvin Otieno, shattering of all Madagascar fans, just as they look to be taking control of the second half. The big, bad figure of the kind of setup that they have in place, but they've fallen off the bone somewhat in recent years after that dream team that they had, which took them to their first ever tournament victory. He's going all the way, seriously fast, seriously strong. What an effort they've put up, these men from Madagascar. This time it will stay in field, and that is the dream restart. The dream restart taken in by Alvin Otieno. Penalty comes the way of Kenya, the tap and go.
Well, that is the Shujaa team that has booked its slot at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan next year. The Olympic Games will be played as from August, that is of next year. I will come back again to you, Eshtemi. Was it in doubt?
No way, no way. I think the gamble that Paul Murunga took last season is actually paying off. Why do I say this? He actually introduced the younger players in the team, and you can see that majority of that squad is the younger generation. That's meaning they are coming slowly to talk about the likes of maybe Collins Injera. The Injera actually will definitely make to the Olympic. That is if he recovers on time. But looking on how those guys are playing actually tells you that Kenya is slowly getting back its foot. And I believe this season is going to be one of the impressive seasons again. And who knows, we can maybe get something in the World Series this year. So I believe going to the Tokyo, we are going to prove our point. These are young team trying to prove themselves. And with the combination they're having with the legs of Amonde, the legs of Willie Ambaka in the squad, Ayo is there doing his job. So I believe this is a very balanced squad.
Because the problem with the Kenyan rugby sevens team and even the 15th team has been the question of transition from the old guard to the new generation. Do you think the coaches are getting it right here?
Definitely. The New Zealand has got a team that's already was in place. And you see the legs of Olindi. Olindi is there. And you'll see the legs of Vincent Ochala. Those are the players who came from the youth team. And here they've already established themselves in the senior team. I believe it's going to be very difficult for those other players who maybe try to strike or rather boycott the national team last season to get back into this team, because these young players are already showing, and you can see they're eager, they have the confidence, the energy is there, and it will just maybe take something Herculean task to stop them from maybe delivering of the international team.
At least that is the good news with the rugby sevens team that is now on transition from the old guard to the new guard. But then let's move to golf now, where Dismas Indiza is the winner of the 2019 Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort Open after beating Sigona Golf Club's Shujaa, that is Shujan Shah, in a 3-all playoff after 72 holes. The two ended the final round of the tournament tied at 2 under par, 286, leading to a playoff at the par 4, par 16 and par 5, and also hole 17, and the par 4 in that is hole 18. The Safari Tour Golf Series counts towards qualification to the Kenya Open, that is for regional players. Remember, the Kenya Open will be played next year at the Karen Country Club, and what a big game it has turned out to be. Golf is really taking root in this country, and we just hope that as many as 50 even players from Kenya will qualify for the Kenya Open. Now, we want to move to football, back to football again, where Gor Mahia thrashed FC Leopards 4-1 at Kasarani Stadium yesterday as the champions notched their sixth straight victory over their eternal rivals. Lanky Ivorian striker Ghislaine Yikpe struck twice in a dazzling second-half display, and former FC Leopards winger Clifton Mieso beat goalkeeper Benjamin Ochan with an angle shot before Lawrence Juma applied the icing on the cake. Burundian Tresson Dikumana got FC Leopards consolation goal with a rasping drive from 25 yards out. The victory held Gor Mahia to the top of the Kenyan Premier League table.
And what a way it was for Jameh, wheeling away again, putting Gor Mahia in the lead. The coach here, Ghislaine found Miheso. Gor Mahia fans. Tresor Ndikumana, long range shot, finds the bottom corner, right corner of goalkeeper David to let FC Leopards off the hook. And that man there, Boniface Omondi, crosses it for that man there, Lawrence Juma. the midfield general.
Well, you know, my first derby in Kenya, to win it, it's a great feeling, you know. And as you rightly said, first half was, what can I say, it was a disaster. It was a disaster. A few chosen words at half-time, and it looked like we put 11 new different players on the football pitch. And sometimes you have to do that.
Sasa leo tumepotezea kipindi cha pili, hapo ndo tumepotezea. Kidogo tu concentration mbaya, marking mbaya, tukapotezea goli mbili za mwanzo. Ikabidi nichukue risk ya kupunguza madefender, tuweke watu mbele kwa sababu kati tutagomboa. Ndio tunafungua hizo goli zote kuna.
Well, that was the Mashemeji Derby, as they call it. The first game was played in 1968, and it was May 5th, to be precise. And one of the scorers was William Chege Ouma, scoring twice before Misango pulled one back for FC Leopards. Gor Mahia won that game. And this was the 87th fixture between the two sides in the Kenyan Premier League front. Of course, they've met in Moi Golden, they've met in FKF Cup and other tournaments. Sekafa, we've not counted that, but for the Kenyan Premier League, 87, this game 4-1 in favor of Gor Mahia. Where does it rank in the history of these two clubs?
I think the community is crying. The community, the FC Leopards community is crying because, I mean, if you look at Gor Mahia, they have stamped the authority since the last time they played FC Leopards in March 2016. That's the last time FC Leopards managed to beat Gor. And since then, it's been trophy after the trophy after trophy. And, you know, I'm not sure whether it's a curse. I think it's just a psychological effect. We have lost, FC Leopards has lost to Gor on a psychological effect. Look at Man United. Yeah. Whether Man United is on the deathbed or they're having a poor run at Old Trafford since 2014. Yeah. Liverpool, who are the champions of the Champions League champs, have never beaten Man United for the last.
It's psychological.
So
that is playing also.
Yeah, it has played. It is playing to FC Leopards, and there are a lot of things that may have gone wrong for Gor Mahia to be. They said that was a bedroom derby. It was no longer a derby. I mean, the fire that we used to see when FC Leopards and Gor Mahia used to play is no longer there. I mean, that fire has really gone down. And
but yesterday, I thought the fans really came out, Rogers. You are at the stadium too, alongside the Celebwa. You must have seen the way the fans took this derby to be.
Actually, going into the derby, the fans were more confident because their team was actually on their good form. But unfortunately, derby, you know, form and statistics don't count when you go into such derbies. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, somehow FC Leopards, they took control of the game. That is the first half. But they failed actually to turn that possession into goals. And they're somewhere maybe timid, something of the sort. Actually, I think everything collapsed once the youngster, that is Collins Shichenje, was substituted over an injury. And that, I think, found the coach somehow flat-footed. He didn't know what actually to do. You realize that he actually brought in the youngster, Austin Ocheng, who is literally an attacking player. And he now forced Mkangula to come back to the holding role. And you know, Mkangula is good on the ball, but somehow slow to make those serious tackles that may be required to shield the back four. That is actually how Gor Mahia managed to turn over the game. And just after the break, I think FC was so comfortable on the ball, yeah. And the coach realized, wow, how can we manage these guys? And maybe in the second half, they are going to fade away. So what I can do, let's be physical. And actually, even the first half, they were trying to be physical to ensure that these guys cannot have those more touches. And in the second half, it's also about Gor Mahia. And they used their physicality to get the first goal because Yikpe was the tallest player on the pitch. And even the FC captain, that is Sota Kayumba, he tried to go high, but he couldn't match. It
was a physical battle.
It was a physical battle.
I think, tactically speaking, when FC Leopards started, they played 1-4-2-3-1. Meaning that they had packed their defense. Okay, they played with two holding midfielders, and that was Shichenje and Ndikumana, and then Mukangula just on top of the arc. Now, moving forward in terms of transition, they were very good building through the lines from the back four to the midfield to the striking. But the biggest problem that AFC had is that they did not have numbers, especially when it got to the final third. They only had Makwata. And Makwata was sandwiched between two very strong players. That was Joash and Mumanyi. Very strong central defenders.
Yeah, sure.
So in terms of going forward, FC Leopards lacked that tenacity. And once Gor Mahia realized that FC Leopards were not quick off the blocks from the back,
transition.
Their transition, they decided now, because Gor was playing a 1-4-4-2 with only two midfielders in the midfield, and the Afriye and Kipe at the top.
Yes.
So meaning that once FC Leopards decided to change their structure, because FC Leopards moved from a 1-4-2-3-1 to playing a 1-4-4-2, which means they had only two midfielders in the box. And truly, as he says, Mkangula is a little bit slow, very good technically, but very slow on the blocks. And Gor Mahia decided now to impose their superiority by moving more people into the forward line, and especially using the two offensive players, that is Miheso, and bringing in that little man, Boni. Remember, I sent a text message to Boss and told him that Terra guy has just come in. And no sooner had we finished talking about it, the guy made a very good
But that bench, FC Leopards bench, Andre Kasambungo, the coach, and he has Anthony Kimani, he has Lawrence Webo.
And Tom Juma.
And Tom Juma. That's a fairly strong bench. Could they have read this situation and maybe reacted?
Well, the reaction that they made was that they decided to bring in the youngster, Austin, who is a typical number 10, to try and team up with Makwata at the top. Meaning that once they lost Sichenje, I think, was the guy who was disorganizing Gor Mahia's midfield. And once the youngster left, then there was a big gap in the midfield.
It was seen.
It was just seen. And even from the goal the
second goal by Ipe?
Yes. You know, he moved from the right-hand side, saw an opportunity.
It was the reaction from the defenders.
Miheso 1-2, brings ball the back. Nobody was tracking the player back. Because at that point, you're still about 40 meters away from the FC Leopards goal. Okay? But he made a pass to the outside to Miheso. Miheso had all the time to wriggle around one or two players and then brought the ball back, meaning we did not have a defensive midfielder to be able to track the striker. And he had a very easy time to tap in the second goal.
Okay. But then 6 straight wins for Gor Mahia. That is a complete dominance over FC Leopards. Do we still even have to call FC Leopards as eternal rivals of Gor Mahia?
To be honest, as we speak, I think Gor Mahia are like 3 or 4 years ahead of Leopards. This current squad will take maybe, like, if it's kept together, another 2 seasons. Let's just be honest, maybe to be able to win a title for Leopards. Because this is a youthful team, maybe averagely it could be like 25 years or so, and they need some addition in this squad. They need somebody who can authoritatively take over in a game like a derby. Because you could see, we actually like that vig of the derby, whereby maybe if there's a tackle, you can see somebody maybe just commanding the team, coming over and maybe try to push other players. At least.
But you cannot take away anything from that game. Second half was a perfect game of football.
Yes, it was. But now FC, most of the FC players are timid. We don't have to. You remember the Imbalambala times, the likes of Nahimana times. Those are the games when actually, if maybe there's a mistake the guys have committed, you could see the reaction from the players. But right now, once the player makes a mistake, they're timid. And even you could see from the third goal, after Leopards conceded, their faces just fell flat.
Gor Mahia showed the character, and they were the big boys, especially in the second half. And the coach said as much after the game that he told the boys, go out there, go hard on them. Where did Gor Mahia leave FC Leopards? How did we get to this point where Gor Mahia are now dominating derby after derby?
I think one thing that stands out very clearly is the electoral process of FC Leopards. We've had chairman after chairman after chairman, the transition.
And coach.
There has not been any continuity. Look at Gor Mahia for the last 5-7 years. Rachel has been at the helm.
Actually, 11 years. Rachel has
11. He has been at the helm. And, there can only be one leader. There is only one leader. Rachel takes the heat, and he has very good people around him, He has the likes of Baba, who is very, very close to Gor Mahia. And when they are in trouble, they sort their stuff in-house. But look at the FC Leopards. We've had officials who have come in, some of them not really football-minded, but maybe they were looking for a platform to go into politics. Gor Mahia has stayed with that, and I think it has turned out to be their biggest achievement. Secondly, look at their scouting department. absolutely fantastic. Gor has so many people out there who love this club. They would see a good player, a young good player from the grassroots,
yes,
and they would pick him as soon as possible. And what Gor has done is that whenever they pick on a young player, if they cannot be able to utilize his services at that particular point, they would loan that player out, okay, and still continue monitoring him. So that is another department that FC Leopards has done very, very poorly. Thirdly, when Gor loses Jack to Isenge, for example, if they lose Medi Kagere, it started with Dan Serunkuma. They will get you Medi Kagere. They lose Medi Kagere, they will get you to Isenge. They lose to Isenge, they'll get to Afril and Ikipe. So I think in terms of their transition, bringing in somebody who is at the same level or a little bit more better than the striker they've lost is something that has been...
those are very concrete points, and I would like us to continue with that when we come back from a short break, short commercial break, so that we get to see where do we move now from here after that 4-1 thrashing of FC Leopards. Let's take that commercial break, and when we come back, we continue with